got with me Susan Crawford, who's a facilitator at our DFP Professional Forums, and Susan's from the Pinnacle Group. Susan presented today on the topic of unconscious bias, and I was just going to check in with her just to explain a little bit more about some of the key components of today's session.
I think in terms of the key take-home messages from today's session, it's really about understanding that just building awareness in relation to our unconscious biases isn't enough. If you have a brain, you have a bias. So it's useful to actually think about how our systems and processes in the workplace can be changed to accommodate and to work around and work across these biases. And really the focus of the session today was to make sure that people understood those biases and they had the chance to apply to their workplaces what those biases currently look like and what systems and processes they may be able to introduce in order to overcome them. So yeah, the conversation was really excellent and focused on that, I think, today.
Yeah, okay. And was there any particular conversations the participants were having amongst each other that seemed to really strike a chord today from what they got out of the content?
I think the fact that each person was able to really contextualise what biases looked like in their workplace and to take away a key action that they were going to take. So for example, there were a couple of people who were looking at their recruitment processes in particular and how they might reduce some of the bias that might be inherent in that process. We had quite a lot of discussion that centred around that notion of gut feel and how that's actually sometimes code for I have a bias here, whether it's conscious or not. So improving really good selection processes that are based on the job role rather than on how the person feels they might fit in the team. Also, just in terms of breaking down some of those distance biases, that thought that if people are further away from me, they're not quite as trusted. A few people have gone back to their workplaces from today's discussion thinking that they'll actually work on creating more of a sense of similarity and less transactional conversations in the workplace, more about who we are as people and how we work together effectively.
Yeah, and that was great. That was one of the really evident things, is that people at the end, in checking back with the room, people were really conscious of having some things to take back to the workplace, and you could really tell that they've got some practical components to take back and try out, even if it's just tweaking the way they go about things in their role. But that was a real positive from today for sure. Now, this isn't the only topic you've run for us with our forums. You've actually delivered on a couple of other topics. Do you want to maybe mention a couple of those potential topics that we'll be running around the country as well through yourself?
Sure. So one of the areas that I'm most excited about, I mean, this is a great topic, but the topic that I love to talk about at the moment is in relation to trust and how to build high trust work environments and work teams. Interestingly enough, trust isn't something that just evolves, and we're starting to understand the neuroscience of building trust these days. So much so that one of my organisations at the moment, Tom, has put trust as one of the key competencies in the roles that they need in their people leaders. Right. And that's been a fairly controversial move because a lot of people see trust as either you have it or you don't, you can build it or you don't. But actually, when you start to understand trust and how to build it, everyone can be working actively on that skill.
Fantastic. Yeah, we have run that session in a couple of states, and I know there's a couple others that are keen to hear more about it. So we'll certainly be communicating when that topic is coming up. That's all. Thanks for sharing that, and thanks very much for presenting today.
It's a pleasure. Fantastic group to work with today. Look forward to some more.
Terrific.